Here we go. We're here on a lovely Tuesday night with the Imperial Championship Series. Tonight's game we have the Imperial Titans versus Vanquish Esports. Let's see here. Make sure we're going here on stream. Alright. We're doing it live! Alright, we have the boys from the Titans here on the left-hand side of your screen. Taking a look at some of these bands so far. Pretty standard coming out of the Titans. We got the Tomcats, Trundle, and Janna. Janna looks like they might be trying to prep for a dive comp, getting a lot of that disengage taken off the table, and Trundle going to taking down a lot of those tanks. So might be some targeted bands having something in mind. And yep, they first picked the Mundo. Great pick based off those bands. And on the red side, Vanquish has got out Yasuo, Jax, and Rise. So looking to take out a lot of those split pushes as well as, woo! Excuse me. Some of those really hard-hitting champs. So good pickups overall by both teams. The first grab Mundo saw yesterday in the game with Crown versus Templars. How really that made a huge difference in the game. So I think it's going to be a really great pickup. Sorry about that. There is the video for the game. Alright, so now that you can all see what I'm talking about, it's a little bit easier. And we have Razin pulling out his famed Shaco jungler. This guy's had it banned away here for a few games in the ICS, but it finally slips through here against the Vanquish. Vanquish go ahead and picking up a safe pick with Lulu and Lucian. We've seen Lucian played yesterday. We had Master Dunzo from the Crowns played at all 3 games, and it's just a really solid play overall. It's a solid champion. He's got escapes. He's got good damage. He's pretty much all around good in early, mid, late. Just an all around solid champion. Nothing really fancy or not really overpowered at any point in the game. But just a solid pick overall. And Lulu, he also can do a lot of damage there in the mid lane. So good pickups, I think, so far for Vanquish. And the Titans decided to round it off with a Morgana in the bot lane. So definitely looking to get a pretty high catch potential. So we'll see. Really, our main issue is if Razin can get this early game going. He's really got to make the plays early on in order to snowball into that scary late game Shaco. And looks like Vanquish is going to have nothing for that. They're going to try to get a really strong early game with Shen as well as Rek'Sai. Bringing out quite a lot of CC in there. That's one of the main counters, I feel, to Shaco. He's going to have a really tough time getting into some of these lanes with Stand United going to be thrown around the map, as well as Rek'Sai going to be able to tunnel to wherever he's going to be at and try to stop some of those ganks from going through. We're going to have KRP playing on Azir tonight. I've already seen KRP play on Azir before, and we know that this guy is one of the... I feel like he's one of the best players on the Titans team. So he's definitely going to be a player to watch in this game. And they do decide to lock in the Tristan as well. So they have a really good siege going on. They have good siege. The possible split push coming out of Razin. Overall, a very well-rounded team coming out of the Titans. They have a lot of options that they can do. Their team fight is going to be so-so. I'm never a big fan of shotgun team fights, but you really have to have a squishy target to single out. And with it going into that Lulu like that, it's going to be difficult. Because as soon as he... Woo. Sorry, nap time's OP. Oh. Yikes. Maybe if they decide to go against that, we have a DC, it appears. Interesting. Working out some technical issues. We will be back with you all shortly. Alright, guys. So we've worked through our difficulties, and it looks like hopefully we will keep everything the same moving forward. This is now our third time redoing this champ select. But that's okay. Third time's a charm. Finally, we'll be able to get this rolling. Titans versus Vanquish. Let's see. Looking at our standings right now, Titans are sitting pretty at number 1 with a 6-0 record. Definitely a scary team to go against. Vanquish are actually our bottom place team. So looking to come into this game with something to prove. They basically they got to lay it all on the line to really stay into this tournament. This is a game that they desperately need some points for. The Titans are going to hope to keep that undefeated record alive. The Fnatic dream coming from this crew. Here we go. We just have everybody picking up their champions going through. We do actually come up with a Lulu support this game. I think that was a good adaptation, making that a flex pick and bringing that through in the end. Because in the mid lane, they can tell by this team they're going to want some burst. They're going to want some of that, the control that's going to be coming out of Victor. So with that slow field, or the stasis field, it's going to be just another thing to drop on top of Shaco as soon as he jumps onto one of our squishy targets. So really, they're just looking for stopping that assassination potential that Shaco is going to provide, and also the amount of wave clear that Victor brings is going to be something that's going to be extra beneficial. So yeah, really exciting game. Looking like that we have planned for us lots of a very good comp overall for both teams. If I were to go off the champ select, I would put my opinion is that it's kind of in the favor of Vanquish. I feel like they've put together a very good team. But the Titans, they are the top seeded team, as well as whatchamacallit. Man, brain OP. Top seeded team, as well as having the wild card with Razin Lee in the jungle. So yeah, I really think it's going to be a pretty interesting game. Stay right there, folks. I'm going to start a little bit of music, and I will be right back here to cast the start of the game. Imperial Titans versus Vanquish Esports. Alrighty guys, and here we are moving into game one. Imperial Titans here on the blue side. Clannon up in the top lane on Mundo. Raz and Lee, their jungler coach on Shaco. Holy KRP on Azir in the mid lane. Detritus and Full Metal Echo rounding out the bottom on Tristana and Morgana. Tristana and Morgana. Like a banana. It's funny, it's a good one. Vanquish Esports here on the red side. Shen Peanuts in the top lane. A Brachy, like a Brachy helicopter. It's a good one. In the jungle on Rek'Sai. Ari in the mid on support on Victor. Ooh. Dark Binding landed, but just a little bit of damage going down. Gonna send him limping home. And then we got Night Beast and Dinky Auk in the bot lane from Vanquish. So yeah, let's see how this starts off. So the early game invade from the Titans, showing a lot of wow, and the Dark Binding max range lands onto Night Beast. Very well placed. Let's see here. So we're gonna move back. Standard lanes, obviously, not a whole lot of lane swaps happening in this tournament. Looks like we're going to have Peanut come through and give a pretty hard leash to a Brachy as he steals the blue away from the Titans. Interesting call from them here. I guess Shen isn't going to give too much of a leash. Because Rasenly obviously is going to start red side, they're not really that worried about him coming up for his blue. So a good adaptation coming out of Vanquish. And already it looks like all of their lanes are able to put out quite a bit of poke and assert somewhat of an advantage. Although Clannon, man, I just feel like he's going to have such an easy time here top against Peanuts Shen. Really the OP-ness of Mundo. Oh man, I said penis. Sorry about that. The OP nature of Mundo just really emits all kinds of power in lane. There's not a lot that really any champion can do against them. We saw yesterday with an Irelia going into Mundo. It was just a terrible matchup. Normally she destroys the top lane, and just was no match for Mundo. Dinky Auk doing a good job throwing out the poke here on the bottom is Lulu. Ooh, Dark Binding barely misses. Great call to throw that out. We do, it looks like, seem to have aggression out of all the members of Titans. Looks like every lane is pretty much pushed up here. KRP getting a little bit of poke damage down. Alright, staying in range of the Sand Soldier is not going to be recommended. And we do have Detritus. Looks like having to jump out. Still doesn't have any summoner spells burned. But they are staying in lane pretty well. Still burning pots, so not that big of a deal. The CS advantage is still staying fairly even. The only advantages we are seeing is up in the top lane on Mundo. Notice we haven't seen any ganks come out, or really any pressure asserted at all by Abrachius or Rasenly. Really, Rasen, what he's going to be looking to do is... Ooh, we got some aggression there in the bot lane. Night Beast decides to not follow it through. He gets the Lightbringer passive popped off of his E and then decides to not walk forward and finish the rest of the job. That's okay. Really, the only thing, they're not looking for kills. They're just looking to push him out of lane and keep an advantage going, especially in a Tristana. Peanut also throwing some aggression. The Shadow Dash comes through, lands onto Clannon. Gets quite a bit of damage done on him. But those infected cleavers just heal him back up so fast. Already almost back at that full health. Just one health pot spot. We do have a Brachy coming up. Tunnels into lane. Clannon has to flash away. Brachy's right underneath him. Got the Unburrow. Shadow Dash lands through on Clannon. Brachy gets right in front of him. Makes him have to path around. And with that ferocious bite, takes down Mundo in the top lane. So all that trash we're talking against Peanut and Brachy, and then prove me wrong. Sitting up here. Great job. Great gank by Vanquish Esports. So let's see. With bot lane Night Beast sending back Detritus down there, he has doubled his CS lead. It's going to really make it difficult, especially with Tristana having a not so easy time in the early game. Ooh, Peanut just not quite connecting with the flash shadow dash. Yeah, showing a little bit of the mechanics that are a little bit harder here on these champions. So, hopefully we can get some of that worked out here in the later game. We're definitely going to have that come through. Razanly just getting that 2-shiv dart just sent through. 2-shiv knife. Something like that. What do they call that these days? 2-shiv poison. There we go. Both of the poisons. We saw he seems to be hard farming the jungle. They're so far tied in ganks and also tied in CS. However, Razanly was already able to pick up the second iteration of his jungle buff. Excuse me, his jungle item. So showing that he is jungling in the right spot, getting the CS, because he's got to have those items in order to make his gangs really potent. Once he grabs a Tiamat or maybe just a warrior enchantment on his jungle item, he'll be doing a lot more damage and really being a threat here into these lanes once he does jump in. But so far his team has been constantly pushing up the wave. It's a little difficult for it to try to control it. That's completely understandable. However, Clannon is doing next to no wave management up here top. Just shoving it in, knowing that Shen is going to be able to come here to grab it. We could possibly see it even out by the time it comes back, but no, Clannon is just going to go straight into the wave. And it's going to stay pushed the whole time. KRP doing the same thing, letting the Sand Soldiers auto-attack most of the wave. So an interesting strategy here from the Titans. Just really trying to keep a CS advantage by having it stay in the opponent's turret. And so far it's working out for them. Every lane, with the exception of bottom, does have a considerable CS lead. Well, considerable being only 10 in the mid lane. However, we do see Detritus there in the bot lane is starting to catch up. It was at 30 CS at one point, now being down to almost 20. So just on him being able to right-click alone has started getting back into this game. Junglers again, heal and heal on the CS. With the 1 kill going in the favor of Abrachi, he does now finish his Tracker's Knife. Going to have a little bit more vision coming through. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes some of this vision a little more aggressively into the Titans jungle. Really what he needs to do is set it up so they can know where Razin is jungling currently. Let him, that'll signal off where the path is going to be. So really that's what we got to find out, is where Shaco is going to be heading to, and have the lanes ready for Razanly to jump there in the lane. And there he is. Gets everything through. The box not even necessary. Gets right behind the lane. Got right past that pink ward. And completely zeroes down Dinky Hawk. Great play there by Razanly. Able to get in the lane at just the right time. But really, Full Metal Echo in that Dark Binding. That's going to be the key to win this game. They need those picks off in order to get these fights rolling. And that's exactly what they did right there. So great job there by him. Scuttle Crab picked up by Abrachi. Holy KRP is there in the way, but Abrachi does safely have a tunnel there to get out to. Great job by him. Yeah, Mike, where's your CS? What's going on? Razanly again coming up behind, gets the box down. Not going to be able to get the fear in time, but they do have the damage going down, and the final infected cleaver from Clannon finishes out Peanut. So here we go. We finally have the tanky Unstoppable Mundo starting. He's got the Spectre's Cowl finished. Is that going to be the money for Spirit Visage? Not quite enough. So he's lacking about 200 gold before he can finish Spirit Visage. So he's going to stay in lane, try to get the extra gold, and maybe take out the turret before he goes back for it. Teleports are up for Shen. Shen having essentially double teleport up. And Vanquish sort of positioning around the dragon here. Wanted to make something going. KRP gets Ahri back into the turret with the Emperor's Divide. Stand United comes through on Ahri. Gets enough down. Razanly coming in. Does not get the box thrown down. And that is that wild growth I was talking about coming from Lulu. Able to completely stave off all of the aggression that Razanly threw on Ahri right there. And that was a great play there by Dinky to roam into the mid lane. And Vanquish Esports pick up the kill. as well as the Dragon on that play. For this being our bottom seed team, definitely putting up quite a bit of a fight. There's no team impulse here. Ooh, yikes. Sorry. Shade thrown, shots fired. And Detritus down there trying to even up some of that CS in the bot lane. Still a little less than 20 behind now. He's caught up quite a bit. Mid lane as well. Ari has also caught up quite a bit with that last bit of help that he got from his team. It was a great rotation coming out of Vanquish. But, however, the overall game gold is still in the favor of the Titans. So really this is... we just need to see a little bit better rotations coming out of Vanquish in order to keep this going. We've already they haven't exactly shut down Shaco, but they've done a good job staving off the aggression. Here he comes here in bot lane, just as I say that. Getting into the tower range. Dark Binding lands off! Dinky goes back in to try to get the poke onto Razin, but he's just in time. Takes the bomb from Tristana. Razin dies for it in the process. A full calling landed down on Full Metal Echo from Night Beast. Great play by him. We're waiting for the dash in for him to get in. The piercing leg goes through on Detritus, but is not enough damage. Tristana jumps right out of the play, but here comes Clannon here on the teleport. A little late. Wow, very late. What were you doing on that play, Clannon? Very questionable call. So Peanut came into that play a little late there. We could have had... I believe he did get the Stand United down. Yeah, he did have Stand United down. Clannon here standing in the bot lane trying to maybe find Lucian. And Emperor's Divide again on Ari. You gotta know this is coming at this point. He does get the Chaos Storm down, but the Sand Soldiers are right next to him and he's not able to clear enough distance in order to live. KRP picks up the kill there and Ari in the mid lane. Great play. So now it looks like we might see some of this game swing in the favor of the Titans. A semi-successful game in top. I feel like even if Razin dies in his plays, really what he's trying to do is get his teams ahead by these kills, because he is pretty much just going to be a kill bot for this game. He's just going to play that assassin, get into the back line, just kind of reappear into the game, send out the clone, and really just cause havoc there in the game. He's essentially the Loki right now of the Titans. Oh, Loki was kind of a Titan too. Kind of interesting. Well played, the backstory behind the Titans. Clannon pops the Sadism here as he tries to get away. He takes the Unburrow. Shadow Dash missed out of Peanut. Gonna try to here just run out of lane. He's got the movement speed. He's got the distance. He's gonna try to turn down and put a lot of damage back on Peanut. And he trades about as much as he took from 2 champions. So we can see here, this is the true power of Mundo. Able to take so much and give so much back. Really just an amazing champion right now. Raito, please nerf. Excuse me. We do have, again, more aggression coming out of Abrashi on Clannon. We get the Shadow Dash off. Leads to the Unburrow right on top of him. But in mid lane, we have Razin here trying to get the damage down onto Ari, and he does. Kills all around the map. We have Night Beast picks up a kill bottom onto Detritus. We have them both going to dive here in the top lane. Abrashi going in, going to take some of the tower aggro. But Sadism is up again. The Prey Seeker lands just enough damage for Peanut in order to finish out Clannon for the kill. Abrashi on the wrong side of the jungle takes an Ignite as well as a Shiv from Razin lead, and that's going to take him down. Night Beast with his opponent AD carry down in lane. They're going to put the damage down on this turret and take down the bottom lane, sort of open up some of this game, excuse me, for Vanquish. But KRP responds by taking down that mid lane. Razin lane here just in time. He would have got the box proc off, but the Thunderlords is there just enough to finish off Peanut. And Peanut just didn't have enough time in order to start regaining some of that HP. Those Vorpal strikes just take a minute there to ramp up and really get the damage. He's trying to set up here against Ari. His team isn't exactly in position, and he can't put down enough damage to really make a lot happen. Box never came down. Not exactly sure what Razin was thinking there. There was no box. He had no team. Neither did he have the assassination potential to completely zero him out. Very questionable call. Echo throwing out the spooky ghost, trying to find the assassination potential. Digiok did throw down the, I believe it's like a transform or transmogrify. What do they call it? Whimsy, there you go. That's what it's called. Throws down Whimsy, gets the movement speed to get out of that engagement. And the Morgana Soul Shackles were completely negated. Again, another gank coming up on Clan, and the Unburrow lands. Pretty much most of the calling from Nightbeast land on that as well. Gonna move through to get the rest of those Lightbringer procs, but he does walk out of lane safely with Sadism rolling. So we're gonna have 3 members here from Vanquish Esports roll up in the top lane. They want to take this Mundo turret in order to push some of this aggression back here from the Titans. And Stand United coming through from Peanut. He gets a Shadow Dash down on Clannon, but doesn't see Razin there. They're coming into lane. So kind of puts himself right back behind the whole enemy line. 3 members of Titan Esports had already rotated up, and Clannon does take him down. And we have the Titans here running back with sort of tails between their legs here. KRP again with the Emperor's Divide back into his own turret. Doesn't quite get the proc off, but does get quite a bit of auto attack damage down onto Ari. Those Sand Soldiers really just tearing him apart right now. Abrashi moving back through into KRP. Not a lot of mana coming out of KRP, but he's able to get at least one Sand Soldier down and get quite a bit of damage. The Dark Binding not connecting out of Full Metal Echo is going to allow Abrashi to safely move back into his own base. We are going to have a self-destruct there from Azir's turret made in mid lane. Razin going to go ahead and grab some jungle steal for his efforts there out of the Vanquish jungle. Doing a good job in this pick. Didn't exactly own the early game like I would have thought. But he is still bringing it back when it counts. Got the eye opened up, and they are going to do quite a bit of damage to the Rift Herald. Taking it out, going to grab it to Clannon. Pretty much playing as almost a semi-split pusher this game. He has already gotten his AP resist item with Spirit Visage. So he's able to get in these fights against Arya as well as Peanut. Some of the residual AP damage he's going to be throwing down. But we are going to have a dragon fight here coming here. Dark Binding does land on a Night Beast. Let's see what they're going to do with this. The dragon doing tons of damage, and that last Infective Cleaver is going to finish off Night Beast. Just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And for that, the Titans are going to go ahead and take the dragon anyway. Razin Lee is going to hit a jump over. Abrashi tries to move to the side, but the Ignite as well as the Buster Shot from Detritus is going to completely finish him off. Clannon's got the Infected Cleaver land onto Peanut. That's going to keep this chase going. And they're going to get back onto the turret. Peanut doesn't even try to Shadow Dash out. I don't know if the cooldown was down or what, but that was the Titans just completely dominating that team fight. That Full Metal Echo Dark Binding there onto Night Beast was really the deciding factor. He took so much damage from just that poke he had from standing there, as well as the damage from Dragon. There was just really nothing they can do in that fight. And Vanquish is here is trying to figure out what's going wrong with their team. They really need to regroup and refocus and get something going better than what they're doing right now. They had some fairly good rotations there in the early game, able to put down quite a bit of aggression onto Clannon. Maybe need to start thinking about picking another target now. Clannon's gotten to the point where he's essentially going to be unkillable in a lot of these ganks. If anything, he's going to turn around and pick up a few kills for his own. So really going to have to start putting that aggression on to like Detritus or KRP to try to get this advantage rolling. We do have Razin Lee being a scumbag Steve stealing away blue buff from KRP. You know, it's not like he's having mana issues or anyway, bro. You know, no problem. Take your blue buff, because Shaco really needs it. A little bit of a vision fight there in the jungle. Excuse me, the river, coming out of Abrachi and Razin. But we do have 4 members of Titans Esports pushing up the bot lane. It's looking like Shen thought about going back at the time. But I think, yeah, Titans do have a much better tower sieging game than Vanquish does. They're going to grab this mid lane turret and looks like try to semi-base race him, but that is a terrible idea. Going into an Azir Tristana, they do have Razin sitting back here trying to stave off some of this tower pressure. Not doing much other than, you know, just staying in lane. But really, the Titans are going to get so much more out of this than Vanquish could ever hope to do. There's no way they're going to be able to crack that base. They were able to send Morgana back in time to the base. We're going to see if maybe I eat my words here. They did have a little bit bigger minion wave here from Vanquish. Dark Binding doesn't land from Echo, and they do safely move out, not grabbing the inhibitor turret. So really, only advantage going into Titans in that inhibitor turret. Ooh, Echo flashing in just in front of the minion wave, and his Dark Binding doesn't quite land. Spooky Ghost going to come out, get them moved up quite a bit. KRP coming here into the mid lane, gets the Emperor's Divide off into the team, but that is not enough to save Full Metal Echo. We have the whole Vanquish guys jumping in on top of KRP, and that does finish him out. Lulu got just a little bit too close to Clannon, and Clannon takes down the bot lane from Vanquish Esports by himself. He does flash here into Abrachi, but there's just too many people for them to take. And the majority of the Titans there are going to fall. We're going to have enough time here to finish off that middle lane inhibitor. And not exactly, they're not going to be able to do Baron either. The amount of damage they're putting out, they do have enough tankiness, but not quite enough damage to really make something happen. Dark Binding there, Peanut is just going to sit there and take it. Not much is really doing to him right now. The Infinity Edge from Detritus is putting out quite a bit of damage to the tanks with his crit procs, but the amount of armor that they've already built up, he already has that Sunfire Cape, so gonna need his Lord Dominic's regards sometime soon if he really wants to take out this front tank line of Abrachi and Peanut. Just really doing their work there. Lulu sending in the aggression from Baron in order to get Echo out from clearing a turret. Good play by her. A little support mind game battle there. Look at this game, some of the gold advantages that we have right now. It is only 1k, almost 2k in the favor of Titans, so still an incredibly close game. And looks like really that advantage is held almost entirely in Clannon's hands. He is the 2k advantage against his opponent Peanut there. So just showing how the Mundo pick really is a game changer. Definitely making an impact here on this game. We have the Siege coming out here from the Titans. Like I said, they do have the superior Siege comp. So those Sand Soldiers are going to be able to clear out the waves very quickly. And as long as Tristana can get at least one explosive charge onto the turrets, and Razin doing his job, throwing out, let's see if he used the clone. He hasn't even had to use the clone yet. Just being a regular split pusher with only a Titanic Hydra on his belt, he has enough attack speed to take down these turrets. And Vanquish, they're taking a long time to respond to it. They're finally setting up Abrachi. He doesn't know whether he wants to go back to the team fight or on to save this turret. And that's going to cost him. Razin is going to take out this turret with only his clone. Great job, and that aggression right there distracted Vanquish enough for the Titans to take down the mid lane tower. That is all inhibitors towers now. Going down for Vanquish Esports. Having a little trouble prioritizing targets and figuring out where they want to go here. Peanut had that move speed advantage to get into the lane. KRP says nope, sends him back with that Emperor's Divide. Great play by him. Razin, oh man, jumping into the whole team. Them not seeing that coming at all. Trying to get out of the lane. He does not get stunned up by the Victor Stasis Field. Trying to move through with a fancy feat. The Death Ray does come through. He does get the jump in time. Does he have the movement speed to get away from Ahri? Nope, that Death Ray takes him out in the end, and Razin falls to Victor. But he did his job there in Vanquish's base. Took out that inhibitor turret, got the inhibitor out of it, and that is a completely open base from Vanquish Esports. That's going to be an easy Baron and an easy end of this game here for the Imperial Titans. Got only Dragon number 2 coming up here for the Titans. I believe the first one was grabbed up by Vanquish. So extended that Dragon timer there just a little bit. for Dragon 5, but not exactly something we're going to see here in this game. I can't see this game lasting any more than 5 minutes. It's just going to be torture for Vanquish. So hopefully we can get into this next game with things moving forward. So I'd say some things to look forward to in the next game. I think from Vanquish, what they need to do is definitely get that Mundo banned away. It's something we've already seen Clannon on before. He has a decent amount of prowess on it, and he's just such a great champion. The power that he brings out there in the top lane is unmatched. So we really need to have something. Oh, sorry about that. Had some Twitch chat spam. Interesting. I didn't realize that there was people spamming Twitch as well, trying to get you to buy their viruses. There you go. You heard it here first, folks. Anyway, so they need to get that Mundo away from him, as well as maybe get some of that aggression in somebody else's hands. We saw that Nightbeast is able to do. He was able to do so well just by himself in the lane, picking up kills on Detritus, and even now he's staying at 2-2 and 4, having a fairly good record in this. Or maybe even Ahri, he also has had a fairly good game on Victor. Really the only person that's been having trouble in their game was Peanut, and that was the lane that was ganked into the most. Peanut does get a Shadow Dash here on the 4 members of the Titans. He is going to take the Soul Shackles there from Full Metal Echo. Quite a bit of damage going down on him. Abrachi into all of the Titans. Doesn't exactly land off any of his CC. They're just going to Dark Binding him there in the back. And KRP is just going to throw down all his damage into the team. Not exactly worried about a lot of what he has to throw. The Stand United coming down. The Shadow Dash goes through, and then the Flash. Interesting, the mechanics here coming out of Peanut. Next level strategies, I think. And KRP looking for a way out of the Vanquish's base. And he does land out. Even that Prey Seeker not able to finish him out. Detritus with the jump right on top of Ahri. Does finish him out. And the last Prey Seeker from Apache does find his prey in KRP. And he does fall. Give him the second death right here. And this is going to be the end of the game. Going into the Titans. And game 1 goes over to Imperial Titans. Great game there coming out of these guys. They really sort of stumbled a little bit in the early game with some of the aggression coming from Abrachi there in the top lane, but really picked it up there in the late game. Obviously, with the late game comp in Tristana as well as Mundo, they really just had all the tools in their belt in order to make something happen here. Is that best said Morg NA? It possibly could be. It definitely could be. All right. So game 1 in the belts. Excuse me. For the Titans. We're going to bring up the match history here. All right. So, again, some of the things looking forward to. Oh, we've already talked about things looking forward to the next game. Look at some of these item builds coming out. Fairly standard by KRP. Nothing real crazy on Azir. Again, Razanli kind of went to what I thought he would. He grabbed the Hydra. I knew it would be some variation of the Tiamat. In order to, he went for the extra auto attack reset that comes from the Hydra in order to keep those lanes pushed, as well as get that extra burst damage that he could possibly grab in fights. So good pickup by him. Mundo, again, with a fairly standard build. He went for Spirit Visage, Sunfire Cape, moving into the pieces of Warmogs. Detritus, the IE into Rapid Fire Cannon. Again, all very standard picks. As well as Full Metal Echo getting Frost Queen's Claim and the Zanya shortly afterwards. Didn't completely get to finish it out, though. Victor, again, also fairly standard build. I don't believe... Oh, he did finish the Hex Core. Okay. Can't remember which color was the finished one or not. So it does finish out the Hex Core. Rek'Sai playing his supporty tank build. Again, another fairly standard.
Peanut up at the top, and Shen does have the Boots of Swiftness. I'm really liking that adaptation here in Season 6. How we're starting to see Boots of Swiftness more on a lot of these champions. We did see it on Rek'Sai as well, and Dinky did decide to pick it up on Lulu. A little interesting, I feel like they would have been a lot better off with Boots of Lucidity on Lulu. Having that extra CDR is something they definitely need in order to make something happen. Interesting here that we notice Frost Queen's claim was never finished from Dinky Yawk. He decided to move further on into items like Zeke's Herald and Aegis of the Legion. Never finishing off that Frost Queen's claim is definitely going to damper the team on Vanquish Esports. You got to have the pressure that the Spooky Ghosts put out. So a little interesting that he decides to not go through that. Anyway, guys, we're setting up here and going to be getting ready for Game 2 of the ICS League here. The Imperial Titans versus Vanquish Esports. Keep it tuned here, and I'm going to play just a little bit of music before we get into the next game. So thanks. Enjoy, guys. That's right, guys. I just can't deny that this is going to be a great game. Game 2 here, going underway. Vanquish Esports here on the blue side against the Imperial Titans. Imperial Titans, if you saw the last game, taking away Game 1. Somewhat a very even game going through all the way to the end. These two teams seem very evenly matched. And good all-around team comps coming out of both the teams. So let's see what they can pull out here in the next game. The band's looking fairly similar to Game 1. They are going to take that Lulu away from Dinky this game. Wasn't exactly a huge player on it. And when they do take away KRP's Azir, I think it's going to be a really great targeted ban. He's had a lot of success on that champion here in the last games. Able to dash back with his soldiers in the Emperor's Divide, sending Ahri into his turret multiple times was definitely a great call. And this game they decide to ban Mundo away from Peanut. They do have first pick, and they don't want to let that through. But that is going to leave the Trundle open with not a lot of really heavy tank targets coming through or not able to be picked up from red side unless they could decide to go for a Wombo comp and send in a Malphite to the top lane. We can see how they adapt if they don't grab the Trundle here. Interesting pickup. Really all of the eyes onto Vanquish here with this first pickup. They got to really make a big play here for whatever they grab. The tension is building. 16 seconds. Going down. Other things happening. We also saw other standard bans. The Tom Kench came out. Another ban, rather, from the Imperial Titans. Just a good all-around champion. Good in pretty much every lane. And they are going to pick up the first pick Lee Sin here for Brashi. Really wanting to put down some of that early game pressure. And the Jarvan hover from Razenly. Can we see it happen? Ooh, the Trundle locked in. Does he go back to the Shaco? Had some success, regardless of the baiting that happened there in mid lane. As we saw earlier. Oh, do we see the famous Teemo jungle? Teemo. See if we can get it through. And he's going through with the random spam. And he does lock in the Jarvan. Alright, interesting pick. Something that we haven't seen a lot coming around from Season 6. We haven't really seen a whole lot of Jarvan ever since really the end of Season 4. So, really all through Season 4, Jarvan was a really good pick. Into Season 5, he started to taper off very heavily. But I feel like he still is a very potent champion. He's got a lot of burst damage that comes down when he has that warrior built. And even just one other damage item is going to have him zeroing out a lot of squishier targets. And with already a semi-squishy team being built with the Lee Sin and possibly this Fiora here, they're really going to be looking to having a lot of CC and a lot of burst damage in order so they can solo out a lot of these fighter killers that are coming out from Vanquish. Ooh, but they do decide to go with the Malphite as well as the Corki, trying to get a lot of that burst damage onto their team. Going to try to have Malphite go into the backline, but it doesn't look like Titans are even building a backline. Ooh, with that possible Vi hover, that would have been an interesting adaptation. Having Jarvan go top, Trundle support, I feel like it would be a very interesting pick. But we do have a Gragas hover here. They could even send Jarvan mid onto KRP. So a lot of flex picks here coming out of the side of the Titans. Still not really knowing where things are going. The Rumble's locking in, most likely going onto the top lane. Trundle here, more than likely going to have a Jarvan jungle as well as a Trundle support. So really the last thing we're looking at is they are going to have to counter pick here in mid lane. Let's see what Vanquish can do in order to follow up for this. They're really going to need some sort of peel. I would say a Thresh would be a really great pickup for him right here. They're going to need that Lantern to grab Corki out just in case because they're going to... Razenly is going to be constantly watching for that Valkyrie to come out of Corki. He's going to wait for that Valkyrie to be down. He's going to jump on him as soon as it's out and just beat on him throughout the fight. So he's going to need that Lantern there coming from Thresh in order to get him safe. Or maybe some other similar Peely sort of support. Even a Janna I feel like would also be a really great pick here in this game. And they do decide to go with a Janna. Almost, not quite locked in yet. So we'll see Dinky on. Dinky selecting it last second, coming out of the Janna as well as the Oriana. Really quick. I don't know Oriana. I don't know Oriana. And Night Piece does grab him. They are going to have the ball delivery system with Peanut going in on Malphite, sending in the shockwaves coming through. That unstoppable force. A very good team coming up. Then they can send through the phosphorus bomb from Night Beast. So quite a bit of burst damage here coming out of Vanquish Esports. That level 6 spike that they're really going to have with that mid game. As soon as Corki gets that Triforce finished, one take on him out of a Brachi, and even just the Chalice of Harmony mixed with a needlessly large rod on Ari's Oriana. Man, that sounds so weird, quoting a champion twice. They're going to have so much damage coming out of this mid game. Really, they got to have something to follow through on it. And let's see, they are going to have KRP go onto Victor this game. So really, the Titans have built a very good, as well, they also have a really good mid-game team comp with the burst damage coming out of Rumble in the top lane. The burst is going to be coming down from Victor once he gets his Hex score upgraded a couple times and just a Morello's finished. Or if he decides to go into a AP item first. Is this a troll? Let's see if they are going to switch back. Interesting. So we'll see exactly where these champions decide to go. Like I said, they had a lot of flex picks here on the side of the Titans. We could just have maximum trollage here coming from them. We still have the last minute switchback between Clan and Razanli. Having a little fun with this game. All right, so we are going to have these teams locked in. Very interesting lineups coming through from both of these teams. We're going to try to get one of the coaches on the side of Vanquish to come in here and talk a little bit about what happened in Game 1 and get some of his thoughts on it.
Microphone activated.
Hey, how's it
Microphone
going?
muted. Microphone
Hey, what's up,
activated.
Dazani?
Nothing much, nothing much.
Sweet. So, so after that first game, what exactly do you say to your team going into Champ Select? What are some of the thoughts that you give to them, and what's sort of the game plan going into this game?
Basically, it was a bunch of mistakes that we made in terms of shot calling and decision making, and so we played really well in the early game, making pretty decent ganks and also countering the Shaco well. But once we got into the mid-late game, something that we've been consistently doing this season is we've just been falling off in shot calling. So I put a focus on just making sure we were keeping the direction towards objectives and not chasing kills for the most part.
Yeah, definitely really sound advice, and that was really where we saw the majority of the problems that Vanquish was having there towards the end. With this team comp we have put together, going full wombo for Game 2, and with the team fight coming out of your guys over there in the previous game, I feel like their team fights were fairly on point, as well as those early game ganks coming from Abrachi, so putting him on Elise Sin I feel like is a great pick. With this comp, they do have the Trundle coming through, so what do you think with your team comp going into theirs? What do you feel like are some of the strengths and weaknesses, and what are you going to hope to see coming out of this game?
Well, I think one of the benefits that we have is we have pretty decent disengage to counter their sort of J4 and Trundle trying to get to us. We have better poke than they do, and we also have the ability to pick people off pretty well. So I think that with the engage we have from Malphite and with the ability to peel and kite, we should be able to sort of waste their time enough until we can get an optimal engage for ourselves before we go in for the final kill.
Okay, so the two picks that I feel like are really going to throw a wrench in your strategy is we do have that Rumble as well as Trundle coming through on the side of the Titans. So that Rumble is going to have a field day as soon as he sends through with that Malphite ult is really going to sort of funnel your team. And as long as he sends through that equalizer at just the right spot, it's really going to have a hard time for Vanquish Esports. Did your guys was anything said in the pregame chat as far as where they're going to be taking team fights? Do we have a sort of focus on, is there lanes focus? Are we going to be sort of objective focus with getting more barons made, more towers taken? What's exactly the focus really that they're going to be going in this game?
Yeah, we definitely set a priority on where we want to go in the early game and what lanes we want to snowball. And the major thing is we want to make sure that when they engage, we have a way of disengaging, getting out of their AoE, and not fighting in choke points. I tried to make sure that we knew before going into the game we couldn't fight in choke points, don't fight in the jungle, make sure it's out in the open where you have the ability to maneuver, because that's going to be the major issue that we have is if we get caught somewhere where we really can't get out of, their AoE and the amount of just pure CC that they have in small areas is pretty insane.
Definitely, definitely a lot of good points to make. So really now, we sort of are almost into the game here. It's pretty much all in the hands of the players to decide really what happens in this last game. So, excuse me, not the last game. We could go to a best of 3 here. So yeah, thanks for joining us here, Dasani. We are going to get into game 2. Let's see how you guys do on the Rift.
Yeah, thank you very much, man.
Yeah, take it easy, man.
Sound muted. Microphone muted.
Alrighty, guys, starting game 2 here. With Imperial Titans being up 1 game, we do have Vanquish Esports coming through on the blue side. Peanut in the top lane on Malphite, Abrachi on Lee Sin, Ari on Orianna, Night Beast on Corki, and Dinky Ock on Jenna down on the bot for that disengage. Like Dasani was talking about, there's going to be a lot in the hands of Dinky this game, being able to stave off those the combo from too much rumble combos. The combo coming through from Razenly's Jarvan and the rest of Imperial Titans barreling down on their team. So a lot of responsibility for him this game. On the side of the Titans, we got Clan in the top lane, bringing through the rumble. Razenly on Jarvan, KRP bringing in the Victor this game, Detritus on Ezreal, and the support Trundle from Full Metal Echo. We've really seen Full Metal Echo in the games that I've seen him in. He really excels on being able to position a lot of his skill shots. So I would look for those Frost Pillars to really come through at the right spot in order to make the right amount of damage. I wonder if they call it... They don't change the name of abilities. It's Pillar of Ice now. Okay. And remember, Trundle pre-rework rather, it was called Pillar of Filth. So... I guess it kind of just makes sense they just call it a Pillar of Ice now. And we are going to have, let's see if really that's, that Flame Spitter damage is really going to be enough to poke down Peanut enough here in the top lane. It is doing a little bit of residual damage. Once Clan can get 1 AP item in his belt, he's going to be going for that Leandries very early, and that's going to be doing tons of damage to Peanut. He's going to have such a hard time, and already having a hard time staying in this lane. Thunderlords is procced on him, and he's keeping down that passive shield that he has. Ooh, a nice Phosphorus Bomb landing there from Night Beast there in the bot lane. Let's see, we got a lot of this. Clan in here is pulling the camera up here quite a bit. He does have his passive bar from Junkyard Titan. Getting that empowered Flame Spitter. Going to be doing quite a bit. We do have the Pillar of Ice coming through on a Night Beast. Does not look like he took Valkyrie yet, or just decided to hold off in that fight. And Detritus does respond back with a little bit of damage. We are just having this constant pressure here coming out of Clannon. He's already got quite a bit of a wave built up, and already a little bit of a CS advantage. Peanut's having somewhat a difficult time staying in this lane with that Flame Spitter constantly going in his face. And Clan doing a really great job CSing here in lane and just keeping him out. Another Phosphorus Bomb landing by Night Beast. He's been really on point this game already with hitting those Qs, and Detritus just doesn't seem to want to Arcane Shift out of the way. So again, this is the aggression that we're definitely going to need to see out of them. We had Thunderlords procced from both sides in the mid lane. Ari as well as Victor. Excuse me, KRP. Getting their damages down. Doesn't exactly fall into the stasis field though. Ooh, we see the first Phosphorus Bomb missed from Night Beast. Nobody's perfect. It happens. Abrachi here coming up behind Razen, but he is very deep into the Titan's jungle. The combo doesn't quite land in time. Very nice ward jump there coming out of Abrachi. Doesn't have to burn any summoners. Very good play. And that was a very good response there coming through, and KRP moved up just in time. Well, almost in time to make something happen. But some quick feet there from Brachi moves him out. We do have him with somewhat of a CS lead. I believe he did grab something out of the jungle there. Let's see. Is he wearing the red buff? He is wearing it, as well as Razin. So he wasn't able to get in and steal a red buff. But he did go through and assert a little bit of pressure. So now that we're going to have Lee Sin coming back, he's already got his Tracker's Knife. Going to be able to have more wards to hop to. More vision to throw down in the jungle. We do have the Stasis Field landed there on Ahri in the mid lane. Razin Lee got in and wasn't exactly able to get the combo down. He did get the red buff in for the slows. Brachi there in the mid lane, not in enough time to really turn that gank around. And KRP is going to have this full wave pushing a tower here for Ahri. Let's see if he's... Yeah, he is going to go ahead and stay in here for it. Good play coming out of him. Ooh, no resonance to clear out those minions. Ahri really trying to conserve mana here. Pillar Vice does land here on Night Beast. Wow, the auto attacks are coming through. He needs the Valkyrie out of this. I'm not sure what his thoughts are in here. He's waited so long for that. And we do finally have the exhaust coming out on Full Metal Echo. Way too late. The decision making here out of Night Beast, you have to Valkyrie out of that a lot sooner. You can go over that pillar. And that is going to force them here out of lane. We're going to have Echo go all the way back pretty much into their minion wave in order to make sure they're leaving. Get out and stay out, he says. Clannon as well has already forced his opponent, Peanut, here out of lane. This Flame Splitter just constantly going through and doing a ton of damage, overheating in those empowered auto attacks, able to let him CS fairly safely. And he's got quite a bit of gold here that he's going to be able to go back on. Him not going back right here is kind of signaling that he wants to grab that Haunting Guise before he goes back. Not quite enough gold yet. We see that Peanut has already picked up his Negatron Cloak. So a good pickup by him. He's going to want to stay in this lane. He wants to get his CS and really make a difference here in the mid game where it's going to count here for Vanquish. I think he's going to try to stop some of that minion wave from hitting the tower so fast. But it takes a little bit of poke for his efforts. We see that Echo here has already been really on point here with that Pillar of Frost. So still, even with that Negatron Cloak, Peanut having a hard time. He's just that Flame Spitter is doing just enough to sort of distract him from taking damage and starting to miss even more CS. So doing a great job by Clannon asserting some dominance here in the top lane. Really got to be looking for a Brachi get a gank up here. We do see Peanut hit level 6. So this is going to be prime time for him to be up there for a gank. Clannon going to go ahead and go back to base. He does have enough gold for Haunting Guise as well as boots, I believe. So it's going to be not quite enough for boots. That's right. He was missing about 100 gold. So he's going to grab the pink ward, come back to lane with that. Tracker's Knife finish from both of our junglers now. And we do see the aggressive warding that's already come out from Razin Lee. He has the red buff warded from Abrachi. Sees Abrachi moving over there. He knows that he's going to be either going to bot lane. They do have him pinged out. And he has the Raptor's proc in order to grab it. Razin Lee knows he wasn't able to completely clear out the ward. Abrachi's going to be a little scared here. He knows he wasn't able to clear it out. Moves over to the side. Doesn't get the combo off. Abrachi's got a flash out of the way, gets a Resonating Strike and the Smite combo, and grabs the red buff away from Razin Lee. Good pickup there by Abrachi. Still not scared of what Razin's got to throw out. The stun does come down from the Stasis Field. KRP throws down the Chaos Storm. The Death Ray residual damage is not enough to take down Ahri. Even though that Chaos Storm is following him, just does not do enough to finish him out. And a full combo from KRP. Unmatched there from Ahri. We got the little minion that could sort of trying to figure out what he's doing there on turret. Ooh, and we do have the jump coming in from Razin Lee. Ooh, the command shockwave coming through, but it's not enough damage to take down Razin Lee. And he is going to Cataclysm right on top of his face. The unstoppable force from Peanut gets right through on Razin Lee. He zeroes down on that Jarvan and picks up a kill on the back of that fight. So good grab there by Peanut. Also grabs the assist for Ahri. So that's going to be a good pickup for their team. Not exactly as much as a First Blood is going to put into Razanli's pocket, but it is a good amount of damage. And it looks like he's going for the Caulfield's Warhammer next. Not going to immediately go for the Warrior buff. Alright, I believe Warrior, that's right, Brutal, it doesn't brutalize anymore. So it is a Caulfield into Warrior. So it makes sense. We're going to have a little bit more of an aggressive Jarvan here, not a tankier one. Which I believe we will also see out of Abraxi here on Lee Sin. And Nightbeast here, hitting level 6. He's got that Sheen. He's going to have those empowered auto attacks coming off. We've got the damage coming through. Clannon coming through with a teleport. The Equalizer goes down on the team. But there's that signature Janna disengage coming through. And we do have this collapse here coming through from Vanquish Esports. And we do have just enough damage. Abraxi takes him down with that resonating strike, and that residual red buff damage is going to finish out Razanli. A great collapse there coming out of Vanquish Esports. Also, kudos to Clannon there on that teleport. If only he could have held on to that Equalizer for just another second, he could have saw where that Valkyrie was going and really got to get it in better position. Kind of pulled the gun a little bit early there. And Vanquish is able to answer back with a good collapse of their own. So with the CS majorly going in the lead for the Titans in this game, we do still, like I said, with this Wombo Combo comp that the Vanquish has put together for themselves, they definitely have the tools in there to get it, and a nice shockwave that's going to land through onto Ahri. Going to put through quite a bit of damage. Dinkyok coming here in the lane to try to put a little aggressive down, but it was followed here by Echo. The Chaos Storm is going to go down on Ahri, not able to get around that Pillar of Ice, and the Death Ray is going to do just enough damage for Echo to finish her off here in the jungle. Razanli here looking to get this last strike onto Abraxi, and he does. The Spirit coming through, just enough time, Fear the Spear. And Razanli finishes off Abraxi there in his own jungle. Really great plays here coming here from the Titans, bringing back a lot of those kills there. Roams from both the supports met in mid lane. Interesting arcane shift there from Detritus, maybe a misclick, or trying to grab that last CS. The cooldown he definitely is going to need here in these fights, because as soon as Echo goes in, he's going to throw down that frozen domain. That Pillar of Ice has so far been on point, right behind the targets that they want to single out. And really, they just need to have Detritus there in position in order to throw down the damage. We are seeing 2 pieces from Trinity Force now already finished from Nightbeast, getting ever closer to this huge power spike that Corki's going to have. Peanut's still having a lot of trouble in the top lane finding that CS. Only has that Negatron cloak finished, as well as the Bambi Cinder. And the teleport here coming from Peanut. We know that he's got his ultimate. They're going to just go ahead and use Dinky's ultimate to stay back. Ooh, and the Unstoppable Force goes down on Echo. A lot of damage flowing through, and just a little bit of the residual damage from Peanut is going to finish off. Looks like they were trying to give that over to Nightbeast, but decide to give it over to Peanut instead. Questionable call. That definitely could have probably a mistake there. I think it was just the Sunfire proc actually that finished him off. So scumbag Peanut there this game, stealing the kills away from Nightbeast, calling KS in chat. Razanli here coming in completely fearless, jumping into this dragon, but does not grab the smite in time. The Stasis Field and the Chaos Storm going right on top of that Cataclysm. And we see the Titans have their own little semi-wombo combo put together. But that's not able to take down Vanquish Esports, and they do come away with the dragon and a kill this time. Going to go ahead and give the blue buff away here to KRP in the mid lane. And Clannon was able to grab that top lane turret there on the back of Peanut's teleport. So far, only 1 assist coming out of here in this game. I believe it did come from his initial teleport down into the bot lane that Echo grabbed. Another interesting adaptation, the Eye of the Equinox here picked up out of Echo, looking to have a little bit more item efficiency and get his warding item with some stats on it. So possibly see some big items, maybe even some damage coming down
out of Echo, and does he clear it? Almost clears it in time. So loses a ward, sends one right on top of it, and then Dinky is going to immediately clear it. Echo's being a little salty over that. 3 parts now on Trinity Force, finished from Corki. I feel like we almost have like a hashtag timer going on for when Trinity Force gets finished. Interestingly enough, we haven't seen Corki with the special delivery pickups. I don't believe it is spawn. It must spawn at level 9. I think that might be what I'm thinking of. When special deliveries start coming through. That's going to be definitely a thing to watch. Once Nightbeast has that special delivery picked up onto Corki, he's going to get back into all those lanes significantly faster, as well as have that empowered Valkyrie to really get in a lane and do a lot of damage. Valkyrie, I think, is still on cooldown right now, so they get that pillar right behind Nightbeast, but they trade back a lot more damage than he bargained for. And Detritus already has his Iceborne Gauntlet finished, so the amount of poke and kite that he has coming out is definitely going to pay very beneficial for his team. Dinky there with just a second late there on the Janna shield. Nightbeast still takes the majority of the damage from Detritus' Mystic Shot. And we've got a lot of members of Imperial Titans here stacking up in the mid lane. Going to try to grab something on Ahri, but they are pushing the lane forward. Clan is just wanting to walk back through undetected. They do know that that ward is there. Interesting, they have 2 members here. They're going to go for a 4-man dive here on bot lane. Let's see how Dinky and Nightbeast respond to it. Nightbeast is walking up to try to get that ward, and Razanly decides to not clear all that distance. He knows that Nightbeast still has that Cataclysm. He's not going to... That would take insane mechanics in order to throw down the Standard as well as the Dragon Strike there in time in order to get him with the distance. KRP with a fight into mid lane, gets the death ray damage down, the Chaos Storm going through, the Janna shield in just enough time. They're going to try to get through and get the last of the damage down, and the flash in from Nightbeast, they just completely abandoned bot lane and transitioned that into mid. That was in a fantastic rotation here coming out of Vanquish Esports. They knew that the 4-man dive was coming there into the bot lane. They make the adaptation, they send Dinky there just in time to save Ahri, and they come through and get quite a bit of damage down on this turret. But they have Titans there quickly coming in on their back. They're definitely going to have to do something here. They're going to send the rest of their team up top. The rotations here coming out of Vanquish. Very good. Very impressive. So they have 4 members up here in the top lane. Going to be able to finish off this turret. And they do trade 1 for 1. 1 in the bottom, 1 for the top. Very interesting play. They do know now that on the side of Imperial Titans that more than likely the majority of Vanquish Esports is going to go back to base. So this is an easy time to pick up the Rift-Tailed here. So great pickup by them. They're going to put it in the hands of Clannon in order to try to keep that pressure there on the top lane. They want to keep Malphite out of these fights as much as possible. They know with that unstoppable force that it is, well, unstoppable. So they want to try to force out the teleport from him as much as possible. While Clannon gets the pressure in top lane, then teleports into the fights with that equalizer. Blue by Fierce safely secured by Ahri. Both these mid lane towers are fairly about even, about half health on both. But a lot of pressure coming in from both teams here in mid. We have almost 5 members. Special delivery here now has spawned for Nightbeast. He already has his Trinity Force picked up as well as his Sork Boots. He is going to try to stay here in the bot lane and try to grab this turret. But with the Rift Herald buff here being in mid on Clannon, they're able to put off quite a bit of damage with these tankier minions. I thought tankier until Ahri really zeroed him out there pretty quickly. Just being 0-2 and 3 and having that Chalice of Harmony is still giving him quite a bit of damage. And they're finally picking him out. The Death Ray picks up some of the CS there on KRP. Good call by him trying to get in there and get some of that damage down. The Leandry's going down onto Peanut. That's going to be doing quite a bit of damage. He does have the Negatron Cloak, but it's just not quite enough damage for those empowered auto attacks, as well as that Flame Spitter coming out. He is going to go ahead and land the Harpoons. He had a little bit of the slow coming off, but that Boots of Swiftness is putting the distance between the two of them. The Flamestar is coming through, and that last Harpoon does finish out Peanut up there in the top. And again, that timely Warp Hop by Abrachi, doing absolutely phenomenal this game, getting out of those Jarvan combos. Death Ray coming through with just enough damage. The Death Ray and the empowered auto attack from KRP finishes out Abrachi on Lee Sin. Janik also going to fall to the massive amounts of AoE ultimates coming out of Imperial Titans. Really a great job. They almost have that semi-wombo combo for themselves coming out of this team, with the Cataclysm as well as the Chaos Storm coming out. Nightbeast in sort of the wrong spot. He's going to use that special delivery to Valkyrie out. Disappointing. Puts himself in an unfavorable spot. So Imperial Titan's going to go ahead and take this time to secure an easy dragon. We do have a teleport coming through. Not a lot of his team there on the back for Peanut. Just going to go ahead and use that teleport for a little bit of aggression to get them off of that dragon. And we do see he's still going to try to keep them off of it. Nightbeast is going to go ahead and start it up, maybe? Trying to figure out, are we starting it? Team? But the Titans are going to go ahead and reform in front of it. Everyone just kind of stalemating, walking around the dragon, trying to figure out what we're supposed to do. Neither team has a whole lot of vision onto the other side of the jungle to really see what they're doing. But the Vanquish is going to decide to go ahead and just move this aggression into mid lane, take out that easy tier 1 turret, and respond back to Titan's aggression. And that's going to even out this gold lead even more. Only 700 gold difference between the two teams. Still a very close game coming out of both these competitors. Like I said earlier, in our Imperial Championship Series, we do have our seed number 1 is Imperial Titans on the red side. And the last fight, seed number 8 is Vanquish Esports. So this is just the really showcasing the amount of competition that's coming out of this tournament. Even our last place team is putting up a hell of a fight here against the first place one. Even the first game that was won by Imperial Titans was not done so easily. We do have some backs coming out here from the side of Vanquish Esports at a questionable time. Actually, they had some gold to spend trying to get back here. They want to get back in time in order to defend this turret. But we do have a wave crashing down. Razanly going off to the flank to try to get that Cataclysm down onto the team, but he is found out by Abrachi. However, they move it. He put through just enough pressure in order to have his team come through and get a lot of the damage down onto this turret. And this is going to be a mid lane turret falling from this. So just the sense of aggression that comes out from the Titans is enough to send Vanquish back. Playing awfully scared this game. Residual Death Ray going to land there onto Abrachi. And again, Titans are just doing a really great job. They're just moving around the map as 5. They know that the Imperial, that Vanquish has the amazing team comp with all 5 of them in there. They need to have all 5 of their members in order to counter this. Also trying to grab Peanut there out of the top lane. They know that his teleport is down. So they're going to try to just take the aggression away from him. He can't split push those lanes fast enough in order to really make a considerable difference. So they're going to just go ahead and keep sieging here. Although if you notice, pretty much everybody on the side of Imperial Titans is staying fairly scattered here. They're really trying to stave off the possible unstoppable force coming out of Peanut. He does throw it in onto KRP. The Shockwave right on top of him, a successful ball delivery system. The Cataclysm with the Rumble Equalizer there on top of it, not able to put enough damage down on Vanquish Esports, and they do answer back with the kill on a Clannon. Very good job, and that was sort of a dive there that came out of Imperial Titans. They just weren't ready for the amount of damage that they're able to throw out, as well as the tower that was on top of it. This is going to send the Titans back to their base with a tail between their legs. Not exactly able to find success there. The Janna also able to find a lot of success with that, her Galestorm, as well as the Monsoon, excuse me. From the Monsoon as well as the Howling Gale, there you go. I was able to stave off a lot of Rumble getting into that back line with his Flame Spitters. So a really good job there from Vanquish. They really executed on their win conditions right there. They used Peanut as that ball delivery system, got the Shockwave off onto KRP, one of the highest priority targets in the game right now, I would think. He's putting out a ton of damage on Victor, as well as him just being a very good player. It's just a very high priority right now, I feel like, for Vanquish to take out. Yeah, excuse me. Clearing out some of the vision game here from Vanquish Esports. Going to try to posture here for this dragon. But again, the siege here, Titans are just constantly staying here as a unit, keeping the pressure up. And even with this isn't exactly a siege comp. Ezreal doesn't have the longest auto attack range. Neither does Victor. So it's questionable that Vanquish is letting them siege up on them as much as they are. We do have all the ultimates back up now for both teams. We're going to try to hover around this Baron, possibly do a bait. They have half their team sitting on a ward, half their team not. Maybe they don't know that ward is there. They must not know that this ward is there, because this is very clearly a bait. And Vanquish is just letting it play out. They're allowing Peanut to sit there and split push the bot lane. They do not see the teleport there coming through. They're going to move back into mid lane. And another stalemate. Not a whole lot really happening here out of either of these teams. We do have the special delivery here picked up from Nightbeast. So we could possibly see some big plays here coming out of him. Alright, and we finally have here going on the aggression Vanquish Esports, moving in on this tier 2 mid lane turret. Going to send Detritus here back. They do have just enough wave clear with KRP though. It was a great pickup there for that Victor. Kind of negates any sort of siege pressure that Vanquish decides to pick up. They're going to use this time to clear out a lot of the vision control in the river. They're going to move as a 5-man squad here into the top lane, trying to find one of the members of Titans as they go to catch them out. Not exactly working though. The Titans have their own game plan, and they're going to be moving across the map. So again, something else to think about, as Vanquish moves around as this 5-man squad, they're going to start to get an XP disadvantage here going into these fights. I say that as the majority of Vanquish already has an experience lead on the Titans. We see 2 levels in the favor of Nightbeast of Detritus. Even with 0 kills being on both of these champions, just that CS advantage that Nightbeast has brought up for himself is enough to give him that much of a significant advantage on their opponents. So regardless, it's at least going to give the Titans enough time to catch up maybe a little bit. And again, them just kind of trading off there the back timers, sending Clannon back to base. Although I don't believe Vanquish was in range to see it. So they're going to come through, use the standard, proc the Baron buff. Does, wow, almost a quarter there of Orianna's HP. Quite a bit of damage here coming out of Baron buff in this point of the game. So very early, only 27 minutes. Not very early. I mean, this is kind of the early part of late game, I would say. But we're having some very good team play and rotations here coming out of both of these teams. Pretty much everybody roaming as a 5-man squad. If there was ever a time for the Titans to go in, it would have been just then. Not all the members there from Vanquish, but they are going to posture here for this dragon. Pillar of Ice going off, sort of to just see who's coming around the corner, using it for a little bit of vision. And they have the ball onto Peanut. The range there he's building, he can't unstoppable force very far without it going off of him. We do have an equalizer coming through in the river. The unstoppable force going down on only Victor. Only one target coming through. The Cataclysm comes down on the majority of the rest of the team. We do have the Dragon's Rage kicking Clannon back into his own team. The Shockwave coming down, hitting 2 members of the Titans. Quite a bit of damage going down, but that was just enough. The poke from Detritus takes down Ahri. And we see Clannon here coming to the backside. This Flame Spitter trying to clean up the rest of the team, but he does not have enough damage. And Nightbeast here, gonna really throw off the aggression, takes down Razenly as he tries to jump into the enemy team. Corki at this stage of the game with the Triforce finish as well as this BF sword, he's going to be throwing down a ton of damage. And really a superior team fight coming through, and I believe this goes into the advantage of Vanquish Esports. Dragon there was also picked up by them. So good play. Ooh, Death Ray almost finishing off Abrachi. Ooh, and just missing out on that two-shot barrage. Saw that fancy sidestep there coming out of Abrachi. Great play by him. And here, just somewhat of a chase here coming out of Echo. Gets off the last Pillar of Ice right on the butt of Night Beast. Just kind of chasing him out of lane. Telling him to stay out of here. So a little staved off, possibly a Baron call here coming out of the Titans. They do know that a lot of the backs are going down from Vanquish. They do know that Ari is the only one in place. And she could definitely put a hamper here onto a Baron fight. Shockwave is back up. Unstoppable Force will be back up here in just a few seconds. They're going to use this time to jump right on top of her. The Monsoon going down, going to heal up Ari here just a little bit. But we did have Peanut there was jumping right on top of Atreides, and he is taken down in this fight. Dinky Ock kind of mispositioned himself, was taken down. Night Beast found holy KRP there in the middle of that fight. And it looks like they're going to turn this in the favor of Vanquish Esports. Rasenly is still up, not a lot of HP on him. But the possibility for a steal is definitely still in place. They're going to move. Night Beast is going to Valkyrie in, trying to get something down on a Night Beast. Neither of them have the slow coming off. The crit does come out, quite a bit of damage, but just not enough. Clan came through with just a Flame Spitter, and that one shot from his Electric Harpoon is able to send all the members of Vanquish Esports back to their base. Let's take a look now at some of the vision game here coming out of both his teams. We do have Dinky clearing out some of it in the river, clearing out some of the Titans, and we do have really, it looks like the advantage is in Vanquish's favor, with really only that one single coming through blue buff side. As long as they move through this sort of path in the jungle, they do have a clear path all the way to Baron. With Clan in there in the bot lane, he does have teleport up. Vanquish is going to make the call here for Baron, seeing Clan in the top lane. They know that they can move for it. Clan is going to already start to move there in time. He's not going to have enough time to walk all the way back. He's going to have to burn this teleport. Hopefully he does not wait enough time for them to move in. He needs to get there right now. They set the ward down for him. But just the signal of aggression from Imperial Titans was enough to send Vanquish back to their base, and they do not finish off the Baron buff. I don't believe they even saw Clannon go through. I don't believe where the teleport was. It might have been just in range of this ward. So maybe they saw Clannon teleporting in and realized this was a bad idea. But they knew that he definitely was not in bottom lane anymore. And in that Baron pit, a Rumble Equalizer is definitely going to equalize the odds in the favor of Imperial Titans this game. So a good safe play there by Vanquish Esports. Definitely not the Dignitas of this tournament. And again, they saw most of the members going back here from Imperial Titans. They're going to take this time to clear out some of the wards and possibly move in on this Baron. We did have to try to starting to signal that back right there. Pillar of Ice finds out the majority of Vanquish Esports. So now the Titans know that they're trying to do this Baron dance. And they're just waiting. They're send Clan in there in the top lane to clear out some of that CS. Tell them stay close. This Baron is a very good possibility here in the near future. We need to make sure that we keep our presence up here in order to stave off them getting it. However, Vanquish are using this time to let this bot lane minion wave really built in their favor. You see that we have a pretty sizable wave here in the bot lane. Only one cannon creep, with the next one not far behind. This next wave is going to be able to get that through. They do ping it out. They realize this is happening. We need to keep them here in the mid lane. They're going to have to force this Baron here very soon. Starting to move up here into the mid lane turret. Maybe put some aggression there towards that. It is already down there. They have to go all the way to the inhibitor. They're sending Detritus back to possibly take this, and they know that they're going to be going back for that minion wave. This is the perfect time for them to start taking that Baron. But seemingly they're going to go and try to siege top lane. Interesting call. They ended up not sending Detritus back to base, so they're still waiting for the team of Imperial Titans to split up before they finally go in here. Detritus going to use this time to go ahead and clear out that pink ward from the Baron buff. Baron pit, excuse me. And Vanquish is going to decide to use this little tiny minion wave to try to siege in. Unstoppable Force hits 2 members. Equalizer there in a very small spot. The Cataclysm lands right on top of Ahri. And quite a lot of damage goes down in there, but then Monsoon is able to heal him up quite a bit. Death Ray lands down, and the empowered auto attack from KRP is going to finish off Dinky. And now they're left running. A Pillar of Ice hits the majority of the members of Vanquish Esports. The Stasis Field is going to stun him back into the team. And Ahri's going to be able to throw in the Resonance to just finish out Razenly, but he is going to lose his life from that. KRP's got that slow going down. Nightbeast tried to turn around. He knew he was taken out, trying to get that last Phosphorus Bomb, and maybe one other member of the Titans taken out. But that is going to be an ace coming down. Vanquish Esports completely taken out, and a completely open Baron here on the side of Imperial Titans. Can they live through it, though, is the question. Not a lot of tanky members on the team, and not exactly a ton of damage. They're going to really have to trade off enough to get this Baron taken down. Really, they're going to have to utilize every member here from the Titans in order to get this buff without losing anybody. And we do have the first execute come out. They really got to get this soon. The heal comes out, doesn't hit another member, and only lose Echo from that. So they do grab the Baron. That pressure is off the field, and it is on the 3 main carries of the team. So overall, a very successful play coming out of the Titans. So again, that bot lane wave only took out 1 turret. Still very... The dance that they did around the Baron buff out of Vanquish Esports was very well played. They had that wave building up. I don't know if it was on purpose or not. However, it still served its purpose. They got that mid lane turret, that bot lane turret out of it, and are able to. They just weren't able to pull off the team fight. Vanquish Esports does pull off another dragon in this. 3 dragons going in their favor. This game is still fairly even, only a 3k gold lead going in the favor of Imperial Titans. They can come back really at any moment here. They just have to wait out this Baron buff and hopefully not lose too much from it. Bratchy here is kind of throwing in the Resonating Strike on Razen. Phosphorus Bomb going through, not exactly able to clear up these Baroned up minions. They are going to have some time to go in and beat on this turret. They do see the teleport here coming out of Peanut. Ultimates are up for Vanquish Esports. Resonating Strike lands on Razenly. He's got him jumped in, but no Dragon's Rage back into the team. The Cataclysm lands on the majority of the members of Vanquish Esports. Diggy is going to set up the Monsoon. Is not enough to heal himself. And the red buff also does not finish off Razen. He's going to run back to base, but that was just enough lockup that they needed. The True Shot Barrage on top of that Cataclysm finishes off Dinky. And Peanut there being in the back line of Imperial Titans just was not enough to slow him down. The Phosphorus Bomb landing down the extra auto attack, just enough to finish out Clannon. But that damage is going to cost Nightbeast his life. And these Baroned up minions are moving through into the mid lane, and we might see some inhibitor towers fall here. Excuse me, Nexus towers. Titans are moving in. They have the win in their eyes. They're doing a lot of damage to these turrets. Tanking up the towers in the process. They do not care. They want to finish out this game. Resonating Strike lands through, but he jumps right into a stasis field, and it looks like Abrachi kind of lost focus there in that last fight, and that is going to be the Nexus falling. A win coming out of the Imperial Titans, 2-0, securing their undefeated spot at the top of the ICS. And great play coming from them. Very good play as well coming out of Vanquish. It's hard to find a lot of faults in what happened that game. a lot of it was just what went on in those team fights and their positioning setting up for it. They they really just they waited the whole time for the aggression to come out of Imperial Titans and didn't exactly set up a lot of their own plays. Really, we needed to be watching for those unstoppable forces coming out from Peanut, and very rarely did we have him be the one starting off the aggression. Really, the only times when he started off the aggression was the fights that they won. So something you consider for Vanquish, just a little confidence going into their next games is going to go a long way. They're definitely still going to be a big player in this tournament. I'm not sure if everyone saw in the loading screen, but we have some gold and platinum players on the side of Vanquish Esports, with majority diamond going on the side of the Titans. So just showing how even these games can be, even after solo queue scores. They don't exactly matter in this tournament. Team play is really what matters. And at the end of the day, we saw some really good rotations here coming from Vanquish. Definitely kept this to be a very close game. Going to take a look at some of the damage dealt here in this game. Nightbees, yeah, definitely put down a ton of damage here on that Corki. And again, KRP, definitely just a phenomenal mid laner. We didn't exactly look at it last game, but I'm sure the damage dealt was the top for him as well on Azir. Just a phenomenal player. All right, let's ask you guys in the Twitch chat. We asked last game who was the MVP for last game. MVP for yesterday's game between Crowns and Templars was Poodoo. What do you guys think out of this game? Who was our MVP from this series? Oh, they're trolling chat. Get out of here. Why do I always have this? Alright, guys. Well, I'll give you my opinion. In my opinion, really, the side of the Titans was definitely brought in by KRP. Just really such a solid laner. He really did such a great job in these games. Really putting out the damage, staying alive, and just really doing a great job in the mid lane. You saw most kills. 7, 2, and 10. An absolutely phenomenal job. Kept his CS up. Really just in the right place at the right time. So really good job there from him. Going to try to grab Razin from the coach here, the coach player from the side of Imperial Titans, and get some of his thoughts on this game. Razin, check your Skype. Who's the guy from Riot? Joel, right? Who's the guy from Riot that everybody needs to have him check his Skype? What's that guy's name? Yeah, there you go. Joel, get on Skype. Exactly. Joel, get on Skype. Razin is signaling that he is AFK, so he lost out on his chance to gloat about his team. But, guys, thanks again for joining us for a really great series. That's ending this week here for the ICS. I believe we're in week number 2 now. Week 2 or 3? Week 3. Yeah, this is week 3 for the ICS. This is keeping Imperial Titans here at the top. Number 1 still in our leaderboards. Vanquish still coming up in the last place. But we have plenty of other teams there in the middle of the pack that Vanquish are going to be hungry to take games away from. So really great game from by both of these teams. Thanks again, everybody, for coming out and enjoying our stream. Check us out again next week. Our next game that will be casted is next week. We'll have Imperial Crown versus Atomic Esports. That's going to be January 25th, next Monday. We got a few of the Crown members here trolling through chat. So, so yeah, again, that's going to be a really exciting game next week. So please tune in then to see us. Again, this is Blue from Imperial Esports signing off. Thanks again, everybody, for coming out, and we'll see you next week.